Hey, I'm Max, and this is Alex.
I work for a fintech startup.
He's Singaporean, but he decided to live in the UK.
Before that, I was in Hong Kong, and then before that, I was in Canada.
Alex told me about his service in the Singapore Army,
I saw some horrible things.
the cost of living in London,
I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
and the most striking difference between Singapore and the rest of the world.
No offense.
Enjoy. What about your family in Singapore? They approve or they support you that you live abroad?
Yes and no. Definitely, I know my family would want me to be here with them, but I know that they're happy that I'm happy out there. That does break my heart a little bit, but at the same time, I have to, think about my life and what makes me happy, and yeah, I think my life out there is a little bit better than here. And then obviously come visit my family once in a while.
Can you compare life in Singapore and in London?
The speed of life is a lot quicker here in Singapore. I go to a restaurant here and everything's just super fast. I go to London, it's super slow. I'm like sitting there for half an hour and I could be there for literally 45 minutes, an hour, and no one's come to serve me yet. And I'm like, I'll just go somewhere else to eat. I guess that goes hand in hand with the work-life balance. Everything's just faster here. The pace of life is a lot faster here versus London. Food, I really like comparing the McDonald's actually. I love McDonald's here in Singapore. McSpicy is easily one of my favorite burgers in the world. I don't even go to McDonald's in London because I just don't think it's good at all.
I thought it should be pretty much the same, no?
They don't have McSpicy, first of all. They don't have iced Milo in McDonald's. They don't have the green tea in McDonald's. Yeah. They don't have McWings. Food's a big thing for me, so whenever I come here, food is my main goal. I have to eat this food, I have to eat that food. Yeah. I always have a checklist of all my food that I have to eat here.
What are the important but not obvious things that the Singaporean should know before moving to any Western country? If you're born and raised in Singapore, then you lived until, I don't know, maybe 20 or 25 years old, and then you decide for some reason to move somewhere in Europe or in America. What you should be aware of?
No offense to everyone else. I just think the city itself here in Singapore is so well organized, and I've not seen that anywhere else in the world. Even the parking lots here, they all have the little green lights and they tell you exactly where where there's an available lot, whereas the rest of the world, you're going around looking for a spot. You can spend ages looking for a spot. I just think Singapore is just a lot more technologically advanced than a lot of cities that I've been to, at least. Yeah.
What about culture differences?
It's an interesting one because I went to an international school. Yeah. I'm quite a friendly person. I know people in Singapore aren't as friendly. No one talks in the lift here, Whereas in London, I'll walk into a lift and I'll talk to a random person, no problem. I think people here are just a little bit more reserved, less open to the outside world, I guess. Yeah.
You think it's because people are scared or they don't want to bother others?
Singapore is a very strict country, right? There's a lot of rules, no chewing gum.
Chewing gum, come on, man. Yeah, you can live without chewing gum. No?
I mean, my breath smells sometimes, You need chewing gum.
Tic-tac.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tic-tac.
Tic-tac is okay.
Chewing gum's different, Yeah. And because you can't have it here, it's I want it. When I was here during my national service, I was driving and I got a ticket on one of the highways because I'm pretty sure it's just because I exit into the highway a little bit early and my back tire touched one of the white lines or something like that, and I got a ticket. So yeah, when it comes to the strictness and the laws and stuff, I guess Singaporeans would be more scared to break any rules. So I think that's what makes them a little bit more reserved. Yeah. Or us a little bit more reserved.
You know what frustrates me the most? When people watch my videos without any subscription. If you're one of them, just press the subscribe button. You not lived in Singapore before national service, so I guess you came from time to time, and then straight away you need to go there for 2 years. Yeah. How was it? What did you feel?
So the thing is, growing up, I absolutely loved sports. Yeah. So I kind of treated it just like 2 years of training. Obviously you get the letter, I got the letter and I was told to show up at this place, at this time. I didn't shave my hair.
You're supposed to, before going there.
Well, that's the thing. I think you have the option to. They didn't tell me I had to, but when I got there was one guy shaving everyone's head and you had to pay $2.50 or something like that. So that's what I did. I was actually in the SCDF, the Civil Defense Force, and I was a firefighter. I did firefighting training and ended up becoming a firefighting instructor at the Civil Defense Force in, what's the name of the place? It's far, far west now. Can't even remember the name. What's it called? It's the end.
Grungy.
No, how have I forgotten?
Next to this cemetery, there is a base.
Next to the cemetery.
Old Chinese cemetery. There is a base.
There's 3 cemeteries surrounding
yeah. I was there.
Yeah, it was there. I personally had a good time. Spent 2 years of hell there. I enjoyed waking up early and doing the runs in the morning. Firefighting was cool. I learned all these skills that could potentially save my life if anything bad does happen. And I definitely still remember a lot of it. And yeah, it was a good time. I met a lot of locals as well, which was cool. And it was interesting. There were quite a few international students in my batch as well. So yeah, I met a lot of them as well. Really, really cool.
Was it challenging for you?
The beginning, yes, because I didn't know that, all the commands were given in Malay. I get there and they're like, yeah, get in line. Obviously, like, it's the first week, they're all super, super loud. Everyone's super scared. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely very, very scared, nervous. And then, yeah, they give a command and everyone turns to the right and I'm just like, what's going on? Like, I had to learn that really, really quickly within the first week. It wasn't too hard because it was just a set few commands. And then I guess the rest of the time we spoke in English. But challenge-wise, I think I was lucky that there were a few international students in my batch particularly. So that made my life a little bit easier because we could kind of stick together. I think that if I was there by myself, that would be a different story. Yeah.
Experienced any like bullying?
The term they used in national service is called ragging.
Ragging, okay.
Where I guess it is bullying, where they, I guess, pick on someone and do things to them. I'm not gonna say what because I saw some horrible things happen.
Oh, really?
But they all say it's part of national service, like nothing super, super harmful. But I wouldn't want those things to happen to myself or anyone, really.
You felt any prejudice against you because you were like from more like you had an international background?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. A lot of the guys just called us the international kids, the international crew. But, I didn't let that bother me. I just tried to, do the best I could. A lot of times when I did that, though, they would get annoyed, be like, oh, you're trying so hard. I'm like, yeah, it's part of it. I mean, same in high school, right? There's like the nerds, the tryhards. So it didn't bother me too much. I wasn't too bothered by all of that. Yeah.
You think it's a right thing for Singapore to call out their citizens from anywhere in the world to do a national service, even if you not been living in the place for years?
I think it's only fair. I mean, I'm a Singaporean citizen, right? I've got a Singaporean passport. If I gave up my passport, sure, you don't need to call me back, but I'm holding on to that passport, so I think it's fair. If people are living here have to do the national service, I think those who hold the Singaporean nationality at least should come back as well. Yeah, I think it's fair.
What's the 3 best things about living in London and 3 worst things about living in London?
Arts, culture. So I love music. I love going to concerts. I don't think you get as much arts here in Hong Kong and Singapore.
Not even Hong Kong.
No,
Hong Kong was like super vibrant. Maybe before.
Yeah, it is super vibrant, but every single day, every single night in London, there is a show that I would literally want to go to, or because I like playing music as well. I like doing open mics and stuff like that. And I tried to look for that when I was living in Hong Kong, and I found maybe one place, and it just wasn't as energetic, wasn't as vibrant, and same goes for here. I think it's definitely changing here, but yeah, previously there wasn't that art scene wasn't as big in Asia, well, in Hong Kong and Singapore, I think. And then, yeah, going to concerts as well, all my favorite artists and stuff, they just don't come here. they just don't come here. Another big thing for me is I absolutely love skiing. Being in London, it's I can just take a Ryanair flight that costs me 15 to 20 pounds and I'm in the Alps or something. And yeah, every winter I can go skiing. Yeah. Here, I guess it's Japan is the closest, and it's Very expensive. Very, very
It's
expensive.
costly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a bit far away still. If you
Yeah,
want to
exactly,
go
still.
to the best place in Japan, which is Hokkaido,
Yes.
you need
What,
to
6,
take
7 hour flight?
two flights.
Yeah,
Actually.
exactly. So it's yeah, expensive. Worst things about London? The 3 worst things about, okay, number 1 has to be food. It has to be. It has to be. There's no such thing as a good chicken rice. I mean, it comes close, but it's just not the same, man. It's just not the same as going to a hawker center, talking to one of those uncles or aunties and buying a chicken rice for $3 or $4, you know? A chicken rice there will be at least 10 Singaporean dollars, probably more. Probably like 20 Singaporean dollars for a decent chicken rice there. And it's the same size and it doesn't taste nearly as good.
The cost of living. Can you compare like London and Singapore?
I think it's cheaper here. I know where to go, where I can get cheap eats, and I know the places that, you know, I like that are decently priced. Whereas in London, I still don't really know where I can go to get, I guess, things that are decently priced. So I feel like everything in London's a lot more expensive. I mean, even talking about like my phone bill and my internet bill, it's definitely more expensive in London, for me at least. Yeah. But then again, it might be because I'm, I guess, a foreigner, so I don't know the ins and outs well enough yet.
I know people complain about cost of living in Singapore, but for me, I think if you settle with the housing, with the accommodation, all the rest is quite affordable in Singapore.
100%, 100%.
Can you roughly share how much you spend for living in London? Like for going out, let's say.
Well, these days, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. The concert ticket, it depends on the artist, right? If it's a small venue, yeah, maybe it can range from £15 to maybe £50. But you're going to a big concert, to one of those big arenas, you can go up to £100+ for a concert ticket. And then eating out's crazy expensive in London.
Yeah, give me an example. Let's say you're going out with your friends.
Let's say I want to go get like a nasi lemak. That's probably like £25 total for the meal, like just the nasi lemak and a drink. That's it.
Fancy restaurant with nasi lemak in Singapore.
But that's the thing, yeah. It's like it's a sit-down restaurant. You can't get a hawker center nasi lemak and a sugarcane or something. You know, it's super expensive. Roti prata.
Okay.
So there is one place that me and my girlfriend love going to. It's called Roti King. And for 2 rotis and a curry, just under £20 each to have 2 pratas each plus a curry and then a drink. So it'll be, about £40 for 4 pratas.
How much is Guinness these days?
A pint of Guinness would probably be about £6, I would say. That's the minimum, and that's not a nice pub.
What about healthcare?
When I went to the UK, I did a master's first because I wanted to take some time off work. So I did a 1-year master's, graduated top of my class. Right after that, applied for the graduate visa, which is 2 years long, and then $470 per year. So I had to pay that with a 2-year surcharge in one go.
Recently, there was a crazy spike of price for rent in Singapore. What about London?
Literally last month, I got a text message from the property managers, landlord, the agents, and they're like, hey, look, per your contract, we can raise the rent according to some index. And I looked at it, I'm like, wait, what? So they wanted to raise it, and immediately we were like, nope, we can't do this. Way out of my budget, maybe not my flatmate. So
can you share what's the increase?
it was a 12.1% increase. I know not as much as here.
Man, here is like, okay, plus 50% or get out.
I know not as much as here, but my salary isn't able to cover that amount. So I had to give my notice, and we're moving to just further outside of, well, not outside of London, just further east of London, because a little bit more affordable.
Can you share like how much you paid for your place or how much you pay now?
Our place, it started off at 2.2. Well, our first place was actually 2,000 a month, which was fantastic, because that was like mid-COVID. I moved to London like during lockdown, during COVID, so the COVID prices were great. That was £2,000. And then we moved closer to the city center, which was really nice, and that was 2,200. And then they wanted to raise that. So yeah, it's about 2,450, 2,500 now per month.
It's a 2-bedroom?
It is a 2-bedroom.
And living room, yeah?
Yeah.
And is it like a condo concept or it's like more like an HDB if you compare to Singapore?
Just a normal apartment.
What is like the banking system? Is it convenient? Because I know like some people complain about how shitty the banks are in Europe in general.
Yeah.
Outside of Singapore, actually.
I understand when people complain, I understand why. So when I first got there, I tried to set up an HSBC account. I was lucky because I have a Hong Kong account, so I was able to set it up, but not nearly as easy as it was setting up in Hong Kong or Singapore. Like the customer service was like absolutely horrible. Waiting in line for hours, calling them. There's no point in calling because they'll just tell you to go to a branch. But there are these, banks called, electronic bank things now? I guess fintechs, right? Like Revolut, Monzo.
Yeah.
So I set up a Monzo account, and all you needed was an address and a phone number, like proof of address and a phone number, proof of residence, which I had. Super, super easy. Yeah, did that all online, transferred all my money onto that, and that's what I use now all over the world, essentially.
Do you pick up any like London words or sentences or phrases?
It's quite an interesting one. I don't know why, because it's actually playing a lot of spike ball. I used to say, oh my goodness a lot, but I heard a lot of English people say, oh my days.
Oh my days!
Oh my days, yeah. So that's something that I've picked up and I've started saying quite a lot. I used to say trash a lot. I guess that was from Canada, but they don't say trash in the UK. They say garbage, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I've kind of stopped saying, well, I still say trash a lot, but I also use garbage now.
You lived in Canada before.
Yes.
Why you decided to move to the UK and stay there and live there?
I went to university in Vancouver, in Canada, 4 years there. I actually wanted to stay there. I absolutely fell in love with that place because I think I discovered my passion for the nature out there. The mountains, the lakes, all the hiking out there was incredible for me. But I moved back to Hong Kong because of family. Yeah, I wanted to be with my family as well. I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes of my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but it was. And I actually thought about going back to Canada, but visa-wise, it was very, very difficult. At the time, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to try something different. I've not lived in London. I do have a lot of friends in London. So why not just give it a shot? So I went and did a master's in London. I ended up staying there, and then I met a girl out there as well, which changes things.
Canada, Singapore, and UK, they're like English-speaking countries. Which one is the most receptive and acceptive, you know, for like foreigners?
Wow, that's a tough question. For me, I found it very easy. I think I'm quite adaptable, so I didn't have any trouble whatsoever with all three countries. But if I look at it from a foreigner's perspective, I feel like Vancouver can be the toughest. I just feel like there's a bit of, not pride, but I guess there's that feeling like Canadians, I don't want to say like America, but like, it's like Canada, it's theirs. I don't know why I have that feeling. Singapore is an interesting one as well. I don't think Singaporeans are friendly, but I don't think they're unfriendly. People are not horribly rude, right? Yeah. Unless you do something to them or, well, actually I find Singaporean drivers a little bit rude. But other than that,
sometimes
they're crazy. Crazy.
Recently, a lot of people moved from Hong Kong to Singapore because of the like political situation, China pressure, yeah, and also because of COVID restrictions. It's a bit of pity because like 20 years ago, Hong Kong was the capital of the world. I think it was like so trendy, so popular, and now it's kind of losing it. And many people relocate from Hong Kong. What's your perspective on this one?
Yeah, it's really sad. I grew up in Hong Kong, spent most of my life there. Most people I know, like all my childhood friends, are from Hong Kong. Most of them don't live there anymore. Within the past 2-3 years, yeah, all my friends have moved out of Hong Kong. It is really, really sad. It does seem like Hong Kong is it's stagnant. It's not growing the way it used to grow. Like, it used to be that, you know, all the new things were in Hong Kong, like even technology-wise, right? Like everything was just advancing really, really quickly in Hong Kong. And then, yeah, since 2016, 2017, 2018, the whole China situation and them wanting to, I guess, take Hong Kong back caused a lot of issues. A lot of people weren't happy with that. Yeah, it's really, really sad. I mean, I personally still love Hong Kong, but yeah, I don't have many friends left there. And it's, yeah, really, really sad to see that happening. really don't like it either. I mean, the deal's a deal, right? It should be free until, what, 2047, but they're trying to come back and do what China does, I guess. It is sad, but what can we do? It's China.
Would you ever move back to Singapore?
I love Singapore. I absolutely love Singapore. I would love to move back here, but maybe not quite yet. I think it's a great place to have a family, but as a well, not so young, but as a young professional, I'm 29 years old, by the way, I still feel the urge to explore. I want to live in a different city. I want to live in different countries, explore different cultures. I was actually talking to my girlfriend about going to a Nordic country because we've never really explored Nordic countries before, and possibly, you know, trying to get a job out there and see what it is living out there. So, not in the near future, but definitely further down the line. I would love to come back and live here in Singapore and be close to my family and have all the good food.
Cool. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.